In February 1945, the war in Europe was nearly over. Nazi Germany was collapsing on every front. And yet, on the night of February 13th, one of the most devastating air attacks in human history began. Not on a battlefield, but on a city. That city was Dresden. Within hours, a cultural capital known as the Florence of the Elbe would be turned into a furnace of fire, smoke, and human ash. This is the story of the Dresden bombing. A victory that still feels like a crime. Before the bombing, Dresden was not known as a military city. It had few anti-aircraft defenses and almost no heavy fortifications. Instead, it was famous for Baroque architecture, art museums, and opera houses. Refugees from the Eastern Front, women, children, and the elderly, had flooded into the city, believing it to be safe. That belief would cost tens of thousands their lives. On the night of February 13th, British bombers struck first. High explosive bombs shattered roofs and windows. Then came the incendiaries. Within minutes, hundreds of fires merged into one. A firestorm was born. Temperatures rose so high that oxygen was sucked from the streets. People hiding in shelters suffocated. Others were literally melted by heat exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius. This was not collateral damage. It was industrialized annihilation. Supporters of the bombing argue that Dresden was a legitimate target. It was a major railway hub, moving German troops and supplies to the Eastern Front. Destroying it would slow German resistance and help the advancing Soviet army. Ending the war faster, they argue, would ultimately save lives. This is the logic of military necessity. But critics ask a different question. Why unleash such destruction on a city packed with civilians and refugees? Why target a cultural center with limited military industry? Why attack when Germany was already collapsing? To many historians, Dresden looks less like strategy and more like terror. Indiscriminate bombing of civilians, especially at this scale, comes dangerously close to a war crime. There was another purpose behind the bombing. Breaking morale. The Allies believed that crushing German civilian spirit would force unconditional surrender. Dresden was meant to send a message. Nowhere is safe. This logic, deterrence through fear, would later become central to Cold War nuclear strategy. Dresden represents one of history's most painful paradoxes. A war fought against evil, committed an act that still feels evil. The bombing reminds us that victory does not guarantee moral clarity, that even the right side can cross terrifying lines. The Dresden bombing forces us to ask a question that has no easy answer. In war, where does justice end? And atrocity begin? Perhaps remembering Dresden is not about choosing sides, but about understanding how fragile morality becomes when technology and fear take control.